Like a billion videos I should be filming because the house is empty right now. Because everybody's all out getting walks, including me. So I'm not. I'm out getting a walk, getting some exercise, some fresh air. And I decided I'm vlogging. So let's see if I can remember the details about the audiobook I just finished listening to. It was called Nowhere Boy. I totally forget the author. Shoot, I forgot to start uploading my video. It's gonna come out late on Monday. This is when I forget the author. Anyhow, it's the story about an American boy in Brussels who becomes friends with a Syrian boy, Syrian refugee, who has, problems happening. Didn't have a smooth fleeing from Syria. He got, I don't know, his father died, and his parents had died, the rest of his family had died earlier, and so he is now officially an illegal alien, except they don't use illegal aliens, because that's an American phrase. So, the story is, Max, that's the American boy, is helping him do things, and oh my goodness, Max is so frustrating, so annoying. I mean, I do like a lot of it, but Max just drove me nuts. Also, the lack of other English speakers at the school I thought was a trifle odd. I know it is an elementary school, and so maybe they wouldn't, but I would think English would, I don't know. Let's not talk about, that. But it's just such a dumb Max. He refuses to talk to adults, and, I can't stand him as a character. He's like, let's do what's right, and, make sure, I just can't stand Max. So, that's, I mean, I've listened to the whole story. Max should be in huge trouble. Like, not just grounded for, a while. And he's not even totally grounded. Just, I understand they want to be like, yeah, everything was great and fine, because it's a middle grade book. Because I'm doing middle grade March. It counts for foreign country. I don't know if it counts for illustrations or not. It's an audiobook. But it's just so maddening, Max's decisions and how they get treated. Like, such improbable luck. And nobody yells. Nobody ever yells in the whole book, except for in excitement. And that drives me nuts. Just so many of what happened. It was like, I could see how come this would get to be a pretty, important book you read during school, But I just was mad about how people were acting the entire time. So, it's this time of year. The time of year where the abandoned yard next door is just absolutely gorgeous. I don't know if you can see over there. Yellow, purple, pink. I love spring, and I love this yard that's next door. It's amazing. So many flowers here in spring. It's beautiful. The perfectly beautiful flowers of my favorite fruit, the peach. this week, vlogging did not happen, except for like 2 sections, one of which, is only talking about books. So, I started on Sunday by listening to, last week, 2 books. I listened to The Boy on the Porch by Sharon Creech. It was an audiobook. It was okay. I enjoyed it. My mind was just going wild with theories, and I rated it 5 stars. I want to say it was like the only book I rated 5 stars this week. So it was. I really enjoyed it. It was fun, but my mind was going wild with theories doing it. Then I listened to the audiobook of Flunked Fairy Tale Reform School by Jen Calonita, and I really, really enjoyed that. I only rated it 4 stars because it has magic, and I know a lot of my friends don't like magic, but that's like definitely a series I'm going to be continuing with maybe this week because it's on the library app and the audiobook, and yeah, I don't know, it's great. Then I started listening to another audiobook, but I hated it, so I quit and started listening to Absolutely Truly Pumpkin Falls Mystery #1 by Heather Vogel Frederick. It was okay, but it was one of those, it's a mystery, middle grade mystery, but it was one of those middle grade mysteries where they don't know what's happened, and they just blurt out accusations at the end, and then everything just gets settled down and ends up fine. And I'm not a super big fan. I mean, I did, other than, that ending section, I did really like the book, so I did give it 4 stars, but it was a bit of an annoying ending. Then I listened to the audiobook of the list because I wanted to stop reading just middle grade. And it was okay. I rated it 4 stars, but I kind of felt like I just didn't care for it. It's one of those stupid dystopians where everything's all super different, just like 20 years in the future, maybe 30 years, and it's just like, no. Also, maybe I'm bumping this down to 3 stars, because the whole thing was about climate change, and I'm not concerned about climate change in the least. So, now. Finally this week I read The Eye of the World by Robert Jordan. Wheel of Time, Book 1. And there's nothing, it was okay. I can see why definitely people were like, he was inspired by Tolkien. I could definitely see why people say he wasn't as good as Tolkien. I think, like a lot of the books I've read that are heavily inspired by Tolkien, it's like very clear that there are massive differences. Like, he definitely told his own story, and there was parts from the entire Lord of the Rings. Just I really like the Ogier. I don't know how to pronounce it. I should look at this. Doesn't say. Stupid book. There's a glossary at the back, and they don't tell you how to pronounce the Ogier. I really enjoyed him, that character. That was the only character I completely enjoyed. And I liked the plot, but I felt I don't know, there was something blocking me from really liking the plot. And I think it may have been the fact that the main character, presumably this guy, just was not in the least curious. He was just like accepting and not asking questions. And just, I liked him so much better once he got split off from the rest of the characters, because he could no longer not ask questions. I mean, he could still ask questions, but now it was because there was no one to answer them if he asked. So yeah, that was my main problem with this book. And yeah, I'll be like continuing it because like the library has its whole series, and I'm a librarian, so I can like sneak in there and get it. And that way I can have tons of reading stuff to do in case I decide not to read any of the books that I have on my TBR shelf or on my TBR stack. Actually, the library books go into my TBR stack. Some of the books on my TBR stack, this one actually is not supposed to be on my TBR stack, but I'm not reading that in one sitting, or just straight through. Oh, also, there was this one section on like page 147. I was considering doing a Goodreads update. He's like, here too, much of what did grow was stinging nettles, coarse thistle, and stinkweed. This is the Encyclopedia of Edible Plants of North America. And the reason it's on my TBR stack and not behind my computer is because I was like, I know stinging nettle is edible. I know thistles are edible. Is stinkweed edible? And yes, for the record, stinkweed is edible. If you were going to make a place, this should be a whole video, but if you're going to make a place that's like in early spring, I don't want to live, tell me about the daffodils, tell me about the forsythia, tell me about the lilies that are popping up. Just don't tell me about the thistles, the stinging nettle, because I'm like, those are like the best when they're young. And so like, just, it sounds like if you had a pair of gloves, leather gloves, you know, it would be a dream to, you know, live there. I mean, well, maybe not a dream, but definitely, like, not a problem. So if you had, like, a pair of leather gloves, and it's entirely too late for me to be filming, much less editing this. It's already after lunch on the day this video is supposed to go up. But I remembered that this is April. And so far, April's been a great month. I got my watch on the first Friday. That's so exciting! And just stuff. It's been settling down. And I think that this month I'll actually go through with what I've been thinking of doing since before March. Before March I was debating doing this. And then it was middle grade March, and I was like, no, I want to do middle grade. So this month, I'm going to, now that I've spent half of the first half week reading, I am going to listen to audiobooks, read the Bible, and read on Tuesdays. And if the library reopens, I'll read then. But that's the only reading I plan on doing with my eyes. I mean, that's ridiculous, and it's not going to happen. There will be definitely, like, I read this ebook, I read this physical book, I have, you know, a huge stack here, but I'm not going to, you know, I'm trying to minimize my reading. I'm going to be, like, sewing and other stuff. I'm trying to not read as much. So that's my plan for April, is to have a no-read month. So let's see how I can manage a booktube channel without reading for a month.